Carrie from Decatur County Historical Society Museum. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you all geared up for the annual meeting?
I think so, yes. We are still selling tickets. You can get your tickets until the 18th.
Okay. So tell us about what's going to be involved.
Well, we are going to have a wonderful meal again this year. It's going to be at the Baptist Church in the Family Life Center. Our main presentation is going to be Brian Winning. He's going to share some of the highlights of his book about the Greensburg Fire Department, 150 years of dedicated service. And I know some people have said, oh, I've already seen his program. Well, he's going to change it up a little bit, so it will be a little different than what he's done before. And then we are also going to have kind of a bonus presentation. Somebody came across some 16 millimeter film from from Greensburg, 1949, with the City of Democracy display. So Tom Barker has put that on DVD, so we will be presenting that for the first time that evening also.
Okay. So Brian's talked about that. Didn't that evolve out of Cincinnati somehow? Wasn't there a Cincinnati tie to that?
The City of Democracy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I thought there was some kind of Ohio tie to that. Well, stay tuned.
Yes.
You'll be able to find out at the annual meeting.
Yeah. Well, the exhibit had Greensburg was voted City of Democracy, and then so they built this huge exhibit about kind of the downtown and several blocks off of downtown, I believe.
Okay.
And then they had it on display at the Armory for a while, and then it traveled to Europe, I believe, and then it came back to the United States. It came back to Greensburg for a little while. It went to Washington, D.C., and then it was incorporated in another exhibit, like through the Smithsonian or a large museum like that.
Okay.
And it was part of a traveling exhibit. From what we've uncovered, nobody knows what happened to it, though.
Oh.
It went back overseas, and as far as we know, it came back, and it could be stored in the Smithsonian or another large museum, but nobody's really sure what happened to it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Tom Barker's put together a DVD.
Yes.
And it'll be on display. It'll be shown.
Yeah, it'll be shown
the
after.
Annual meeting is when?
It is April 26th at 6 p.m.
Okay, but tickets available till April 18th.
Yes, and you need to purchase your ticket beforehand instead of just making a reservation. So tickets are $25 this year. But you get a great meal, the fire station or the fire department program, and then this bonus footage of the City of Democracy exhibit. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, and that book, if you haven't seen that book that Brian had put together from the fire department, it's got, I mean, you could see all the research that went into that book and all the because there's a lot of clippings, there's a lot of
photographs.
Yeah,
yes, there's all sorts of really neat stuff.
I think it could have been about 3 times its size.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he does a sequel on that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Fire Department Book 2.
There we go.
We can put
the next 150 years.
Well, yeah, but I think he still had a lot of stuff from the
previous,
from the 150 that he could have used.
That
he didn't. So yeah.
Yeah.
He is always interesting to talk about that because he had such a passion on putting that together, and Brian talked with a lot of folks to make this all happen. He had support from the city to put this together. So, and
the books will be on sale at the dinner, and they will be sold separately from our. We'll have gift shop stuff, but the books will be sold by the city, I believe.
Okay. They're probably cash only, aren't they?
It's cash or check for those, and I think I wrote down somewhere.
Because they're also available, I believe, at the water office, the fire department book, I believe.
It could be. I am not positive on that.
Or the clerk's office. Yeah, they're in the...
Probably the clerk's office. So, yeah. So if you buy the book about the fire department, it's $40. They're cash or check, and those checks need to be made out to the city of Greensburg.
Okay.
And then if you purchase anything from the Historical Society gift shop stuff, we do cash check and we do credit card now too.
Okay. So what kind of historical society items do you have?
We will probably bring some of the railroad books over, some of the reflection books, maybe some of the ornaments. We do have a few T-shirts, and I will have order forms for shirts if people are interested in ordering.
Okay.
There's also, on the order form, we have short sleeve T-shirts, youth size and adult size, long sleeve T-shirts. I think those are youth and adult. Sweatshirts, and then hooded sweatshirts that can be ordered. So,
Okay. Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And I thought I was already putting my winter stuff away,
right.
you know, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah,
winter
it was.
stuff and winter boots are coming back out as far as more.
Yeah, I kind of had to scrape the windshield this morning before going to the Y. So yeah, hopefully it clears up.
I know in the county schools, north and south, went on a 2-hour delay because of fog.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me. I only live a couple miles out of town, and it was. I came to town around 5:30, and it
pretty
was
foggy coming in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell if the road was going to be slick or not, and you know,
Absolutely.
brights. You turn your brights on, and it's just the fog shining right back into your eyes, so it doesn't really work very well.
It looked like there was a little bit of icing or something right around 11:30ish last night, because when I let the dogs out, that one chair had.
Yeah, I had kind of like a slushy,
like a-
snowy ice
yeah.
on the windshield this morning.
Was it? Did you?
Yeah, we don't have a garage, so I had to scrape the windshield. But it wasn't really stuck to the windshield. It was just kind of more
Well, that's
pushing
what
it
looked.
off.
It looked like
Yeah.
it was a slushy thing.
Yeah.
Of course, then with all the water that fell, came down.
I
I
know.
don't even know if that's the right word for it. With all that we had, of course, Bartholomew County still has
Some flooding.
some flood warnings, I believe, in effect. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. My road, where I live, the creek flooded. So Saturday morning,
Does it typically? Does it typically?
if we get enough water,
Okay.
and it's just because the way the creek is, and there's probably a couple stops, you know, trees falling over. We think there's some beavers down there. Yeah. So they back things up every once in a while too.
Okay.
But
Well,
it
there you
comes
go.
across the road, and sometimes it's not too bad, and then other times, like Saturday morning, I looked at it and I was like, no, I'm going the other way to town, because
Yeah.
it just didn't look like a good thing to drive through.
How deep did it seem to be?
I don't think it was very deep, but it covered a long portion of the road.
Okay.
And, you know, we get, because there's fields next to it, you get kind of the runoff from the fields, the corn and the soybean leftovers and things like that on the road, so you can't really see what you're driving
Right.
into very
yeah,
well.
it's not safe to
Yeah,
drive through the water, but
yeah.
I would think that any place that would typically flood, that was probably the case
Yes.
on Saturday morning. I know down here at Park Road. Did you come Park Road?
Not today, because I wasn't sure what the road was going
So
to
you
be like.
you came
I came
around.
through town, yeah,
Okay.
because I wasn't, somebody told me that did they close the shelter or something?
Yeah.
So I was
My
like,
understanding they had moved the
the animals.
animals out
Yeah,
for was it Saturday night, because it was flooded. Of course, that's a low-lying area there,
right.
and it typically always gets out of its bed. But
Yeah. So I came through town to get here because I wasn't sure what the road was going to be like, and then I'd have to turn around and come through town anyway. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe when Kathy comes in, she'll come that route and check that out and see
give you a
if it's
report.
receded, or the highway department. We could probably check with them,
Right.
Since they're now located down that direction for the
Oh, that's
county
right.
highway.
Yeah.
So they would certainly know. I'm sure they were out. I know they were out over the weekend. I'm sure the city was too, obviously, but cleaning out some some areas where the debris kept getting caught and
Right.
blocking things up, and so.
Yep.
All right. Anything else with the Historical Society? Of course, this last Saturday, did you have a chance? They still did the Underground Railroad tours. Did you have a chance to do that?
I didn't. I was at the museum all day because
Yes.
there is the Underground Railroad exhibit at the museum that is part of the whole thing they had going on over the weekend.
Right.
So we had 40 people come in,
Did
which,
you really?
yeah, it kind of surprised me just because everything else was out by the library.
Right.
But some of our board members were out at the library because they were in costume out there. So they really promoted, don't forget to go to the museum. So that display is going to be up for most of the month.
Okay.
I'm not sure when John plans on taking it down. It's all their stuff that they brought in, but it's very interesting. And then Donna Swinford got out several dresses that are period appropriate and put them on display in that room too, in the gallery.
So you had 40 people come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we counted, and a lot of them spent more time. They spent time in the museum. They didn't just go to the display and leave. So yeah, there were several people who said they hadn't been in there for a long time or had never been in there. So that was good.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the display involve? On
The Underground Railroad?
that you have?
They have some pictures of out in the county, the cemetery and the church, and I can't remember what all the pictures. No, it's mostly documents actually, and it's some of the original documents, like about the court case of Caroline and the family, and some letters, information like I think tracing some of Caroline's descendants. I haven't had a chance to really look at it because I've been very busy. But there's a lot of interesting documents to look at, and
you can actually look at them.
Yeah, they're in the display cases, but like the handwritten ones, they went through and typed them, so it's a little easier to read.
Okay.
But the originals are in the display case also. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And that's going to be pretty much all month?
I think so, yes.
Now, then this past Saturday was the only Saturday that you're open, right?
Yes, unless you call and make an appointment.
Okay, and other hours, what's the normal hours?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 to 4. And then the first Saturday of the month, 1 to 4. And like I said, you can also make an appointment to come in. We have History Camp coming up this weekend.
Okay.
So we're going to actually talk about the book. There's a children's book called Follow the Drinking Gourd, and it goes with the Underground Railroad. So we're going to talk about the book and do some activities with that, and then the kids will have a chance to look at the display upstairs.
Follow the Drinking Gourd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, and then we had book club last week. So the next book club is the first Tuesday of May.
And who's eligible for book club?
It's adults. I mean, yeah, it's history book club. Everybody, we have a group of 7 right now.
Okay.
And everybody kind of has different interests, which is really fun because they bring in different titles, and then we just I have a running list and I see what's available with enough copies through the library. So each month we read a different book, but it's people just bring in different titles they would like to read. So it's not just always the same person picking the book. And then, of course, several people have traveled. And so depending on what we're reading, they're like, oh, yes, I got to see that place. Or, I remember hearing about that. And just it's kind of an interesting group. It's a fun group.
And do you need to do anything to join, or do you just need to show up?
You can just show up. If you need more information, go ahead and call. Our books are at the library on the bookshelf with the book club books.
Okay.
And I usually order 8. Like I said, we've got 7 in the group. So if you are interested in coming, you might want to give me a heads up so I can ask the library to order an extra book.
Okay.
And our books usually have the pink tag in them. So people know, like, the book clubs have different colored tags with the due dates on that for their books. So ours are usually pink.
Okay,
So,
kind of
yeah.
like the pink slip.
I guess.
It sounds like to me.
But I think one group has green and just, whatever, but I don't know if they just randomly picked colors and they're like, okay, this group's going to have this color, or what the deal is. But I've noticed ours are always pink, so.
All right, so the book club, the history book club meets what Saturday?
It's the first Tuesday at 7 o'clock at the museum.
At the museum, okay. And then the history club for kids meets
Second Saturday from 9 to 11.
Okay.
And if there's kids interested, contact me. I do have a few open spaces left for this weekend. But I like to know ahead of time how many kids to expect, especially if something comes up and I need to cancel for whatever reason. Like one time, a whole family was sick and I had only one other kid, so we really couldn't run the camp with just one kid and one adult there. And that way also, if I need to do extra prep work, because sometimes we have a project that they're working on, so I need to get things put together for each project and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Carrie Shumaker with the Historical Society of Decatur County. It's 8:56. Anything else we need to cover this morning?
I don't think so.
All right, the phone number?
812-663-2764.
All right, and online it's DECCO. No.
DECHISSOC at etczone.com.
Okay. DECHISSOC at etczone.com.
Yes.
All right, so it's short for the first three letters, Decatur Historical Society, the first three letters of each.
Yes. And if you're interested in tickets for the annual dinner, I have them at the museum where you can purchase them, or you can find one of our board members. They're also selling them.
Okay, and it's, what did you say the ticket price was?
$25.
$25,
Yes.
and the event is at the First Baptist Church?
Yes, in the Family Life Center on the 26th of April, but you have to have your ticket ordered by the 18th because we need to tell the caterer how many to expect.
I'm not going to ask what's going to be the catering.
You don't want to know?
I do. Do you have it?
I have the list this time.
You have it.
Yes. Lauren put it on the flyer. So we're going to have an appetizer of Firehouse Chili because we're having the fire station presentation.
Nice.
Our main dishes are baked ham or chicken Alfredo. There's going to be loaded mashed potatoes, green beans, a vegetable medley, tossed lettuce salad, dinner rolls, flavored cupcakes and parfaits, and then I think the drink's probably tea and lemonade and water. So
That sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes, it should be very tasty.
It should be. That's a good plan to put that on the flyer.
Yeah. Yeah, because people always ask, and then we're like, oh, wait, what'd we order this year?
So who's doing that?
And I thought of it the other day. It's the same person we've had before.
Okay. I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Carrie Shumaker, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. It's now 8:58.